was studying hypnosis at the time, and that was another thing. During my back surgery, that time off, like I got a certificate in hypnosis. I became a hypnotist. I learned.
Hypnosis, like the craziest thing you think you learned from hypnosis.
Well, I guess getting that subject, I would say that like a lot of people think that hypnosis is this mind control, this way to create like a Manchurian candidate. And although yes, it theoretically on paper it is possible, but it would take a whole lot of conditioning, a whole lot of just mental breaking somebody down and just to rebuild them, and then constantly feeding them some kind of narrative that would benefit them to why they would want to kill somebody or something like that. So like if I was to put you in hypnosis and I couldn't tell you to go kill somebody because being in hypnosis isn't like being asleep. It's not like,
Yeah.
it doesn't feel like anything. It just feels like you're just really relaxing. You're just listening and you're just really chill, but you don't think you're hypnotized, but you don't really remember it after the fact. Kind of like the example I'd given before about driving down the highway. And then like, you're like, wait a minute, how did I don't remember getting this far. I don't remember driving the past 3-4 miles. How have I not hit something? But your body, because you're driving and your body, it automatically knows that if there's any kind of danger, it's going to trigger your conscious mind to act and,
right.
To turn. But as long as there's nothing changed, because you know how to drive, it's built into your, because it becomes almost like a part of you when you start driving, that you can think about stuff and you're still watching the road. But we tend to forget that we're watching the road and we're thinking about something else. We've got something on our mind. And you just don't think about the time that had passed, but you're definitely were safe because like your brain and the way your subconscious works is like, it's kind of always on call. It's always looking for things that are changing. And if things changing, it's like, hey, yeah, there's a car right there, Ryan. Yeah, and then you come out of it, but you don't feel
Right.
like anything different. So for me to say hypnosis, that if anybody ever says like, hey, can I hypnotize you? Or you ever want to participate in hypnosis, do it. Don't be afraid of it. Don't think that somebody's going to control your mind or you're opening up your mind for demons and people are going to be able to get in. That's completely false. It doesn't work that way. But just to be able to really to talk like NLP, which is like neurological linguistic programming, which is just
right.
like George Navadon, people like that use these, and it's just being if you repeat a word enough times, in a sense, like if that scumbag, like I was talking about somebody, I'm like, oh yeah, scumbag. And every time I refer to him like scumbag, and maybe once I'm like, oh yeah, Jim, the scumbag. Eventually, after a time of me doing that enough time, it's in your brain. It's going to be like, that guy's a fucking scumbag, or like,
right.
or maybe you don't know him but you're going to be, you're going to be on guard. But Jim, hold on, wait a minute. I think I remember something about to be a scumbag or something, like you would instantly trigger that. And that is
That connection.
yeah, you're going to automatically put that like, I don't know why I shouldn't like Jim, but I remember like, you might not even remember that because it's so subtle. And those are like little, like nested loops. And there's a lot of nuances to it. And it's really clever. And it's really a lot of most advertisements and stuff like that are done like using neurological linguistic programming and keywords and just target like words that make your imagination like I was to give you one that was like, imagine this. If somebody says, imagine this, you really have no choice but to imagine it. And if somebody says like, don't think about a pink elephant, you're definitely thinking about a pink elephant. There's no, you have to, it's there's ways that people can play into that kind of stuff to get you to. Hypnosis is taking, like if you're afraid of spiders, we're taking a good memory. I'm taking you back to how you felt that spider made you feel. And I want you to be cringy. And then I'm going to instantly take you back to that time that you were happy in your spot. And then I'm going to take you back to terrorize you again with the spider where you're scared. And then you're able to change that. You're able to change those states instantly. And if you do that enough times, jumping back and forth, you're eventually going to replace that phobia with your good feelings and that bad feeling of like, why? Because everything that happens to us, like, let's say if you're scared of spiders, if you're scared of, I hate spiders, I don't mind snakes, but if you're deathly scared of snakes, something happened in your life. Yeah. Or like there's some people that are deathly afraid of dogs. Right. And so what had happened, like maybe that person, a dog, like when they were little, You know, like they don't know why they're afraid of dogs, but maybe a dog scared the crap out of them, or their mom or dad like they like flipped out because a dog was around, and oh my, and it scared the child. The child doesn't know why it doesn't like the dog, but it just knows that my mom. It associates that with fear. So
Right.
that if you could change that, replace that fear with a good thought, then that's what hypnosis is doing. That kind of like that's how they get people to quit smoking is
A
a whole
good,
little thing with it. But
a,
it's very
supposed to be
helpful.
a good positive thing.
Yes, it's very good. It's very positive. Yes.
Yeah. And
Yes.
you mentioned MK Ultra, and even those folks running MK Ultra, they couldn't do it with just hypnosis. They realized that they couldn't do it with just drugs. They couldn't do it with just
Right.
hypnosis. They had to. It was like this mixture of things. They even put an implant in somebody at one
Oh, I
point to
believe.
try to remote control them, and then they drove this other poor woman crazy because she was going to be the first one that had an implant that they control without wires. They could control her wirelessly. And the one photo you can find of her online is her in one of those padded rooms, literally.
Oh yeah, crazy room. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's really unfortunate.
I don't put it past our government to be involved in a lot of nefarious things. In fact, I will guarantee that we know that they have, like, I did a video
Right.
I did a video on my channel. I think it's on the Brain Plug, but it's about the whenever they injected all the people in all the black people in us in here in Alabama with radioactive stuff, and then they're doing all the experiments on black people, and it was our government doing it. Oh no, they gave
Was
him
that
syphilis. They gave him syphilis.
the Tuskegee
Tuskegee,
experiments?
yes. I done it. Yeah, I done a
Yeah.
little short on that, and it didn't
Uh-huh.
get no views or anything. But yeah, I thought that was like completely wrong, and they didn't have no problem
Yeah.
doing it. That's what's wrong, dude. Like that.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like,
that's when you go back to that old footage where they have some of these doctors that at least were still alive on camera, like they didn't care,
yep.
they just flat out didn't care. What was there any concern about using this stuff on Americans that didn't know they were having this stuff done to them? And he's just flat out, no.
What in the world were they looking for with the magic mushrooms?
I think the best answer to that is that they were looking for fundamental information on compounds that would be capable of causing changes in behavior, changes in mental attitude.
Did you ever consider what would have happened if any of these substances were given to, say, unwitting people?
Oh, I don't remember having considered that specifically.
What if I trust perhaps you've thought about it.
Well, I haven't worried about it. Your question again, what would I have thought had I known that
any of these substances would
have been given to
unwitting persons?
You mean a hostile agent of another government?
No, I mean,
think that was probably one of the things they had in mind.
I mean, testing it out on an American citizen.
I guess I must seem very, very cold-blooded about this, but I don't recall ever having been very much preoccupied with that issue.
Well, what do you think? Because one of my biggest things getting into this, kind of as a newbie, is who to trust in this UFO field, this UAP field, and like who not to trust. And I thought this would be a great question for you because of your history and reading people and whatnot.